A question that I get asked all the time is, like, what's the best mythic item for Janna? Like, what's the best mythic item for Nami? Blah, 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 blah. And right here, right now, I am going to answer all of those questions. Like, right here, right now, in like less than 10 seconds or so. Do you guys want to hear the actual answer? The best mythic item for Janna, the best mythic item for Nami, every single support in the game. Do you want to know the answer? Do you want to know the answer? You want to know the answer? You want to know the answer? The answer is there is none, okay? There is absolutely no best mythic for Janna. There is no best mythic for Nami. There is no best mythic for Leona, okay? So every time someone asks me, what is the best mythic item for Janna? I always tell them, it depends on what you have on your team. It depends on what you have on the enemy team. You don't build Imperial Mandate over and over again. You don't build Moonstone over and over again. Of course, there are some mythics that work better on others. So for example, I think Morgana, Imperial Mandate is hot garbage. But I think Moonstone, she's the best character to use Moonstone compared to other characters because, well, if she has Demonic Embrace, that is. Watch my video on like 20,000 healing Morgana, but I feel like she can utilize it a lot better than most champions. But that doesn't mean I'm running Moonstone Morgana all the time, because Moonstone isn't going to be good in some games. With Janna, I would say Imperial Mandate generally is probably better on her, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be running Imperial Mandate every single game on Janna, because that's not how it works. That's not season 11. The point of season 11 with all these mythic items and all these item reworks and changes is that it's supposed to be flexing. You're supposed to be picking items based on what you have and what you are versing. This is not season 10 when we're just Athene's, Redemption, Ardent Censor, like those are your 3 items that you ever go. Not in that particular order, but like, you know, us bitches just going like Athene's, Ardent Censor, Redemption, maybe like a Crucible if we're versing stuns, and then we flex maybe the tiny items at the end. Like, no, that's not how it works. That's not mythic items. So what you want to think about is there are characters that can generally use some items okay. So for example, with Janna, the 3 items that you can kind of use pretty well is Locket, Moonstone, and Imperial Mandate. Shorelia's not so much. There might be sometimes, or most of the times, you go Imperial Mandate, like more like 50% Imperial Mandate, 25% Moonstone, but you don't like stick to one thing all the time. So we're gonna play a little bit of a game, a little bit of an exercise for you girls, so we can, you know, have a better understanding of what would you build in these certain situations. Champions like Sona can literally only use Moonstone, not true. Locket, Shorelia's Moonstone, Sona. So right here I have a tier maker list. I couldn't find like a champion select type of website, so we're just gonna use this tier list moment just to like visualize it a little bit better. So how this is going to go is on the right side, wait girl, on the left side is your team comp. So we are playing Janna, so imagine that we are playing Janna and this is our team. We have Aatrox, Shaco, Diana, Draven on our team. And on the enemy team, we have Mundo, Rammus, Galio, Ashe, and Alistar. So this exercise or this game that we're playing, I'll just call it maybe like, what would you build? So the 3 mythics that you would build on Janna, really, is Moonstone, Imperial Mandate, and Locket. So I said to you girls that there is no best mythic item for Janna, and there is no best mythic item for any character in the game. I think support in particular is very important, so listen up girlies if you're support mains. Like this in particular is more geared towards support players, because support players have to flex their items a lot more. So my exercise or question, or this little game, is if you are in this champ select, if you saw this game, what mythic item would you build? So I'll give you girls maybe like 10 seconds or so. So type in the chat, what would you build? So we could go through this by process of elimination is probably the better way to go about this. So let's start off with locket. Or actually, we need to start off by looking at what our team comp is and what their team comp is and what are our strengths. So when I look at my team comp, what immediately sticks out to me is we have sustained damage, top and 80 carry. So Draven is obviously sustained damage single target, and Aatrox is very survival, sustained damage. And we have burst damage, but also sustain in a way Diana. So Diana's an assassin, so she jumps in, bursts AoE the house, but her auto attacks with her passive and kind of spammable abilities-ish lets her be a little bit sustaining, but she's on the burst side, obviously, because she's an assassin. Shaco, depending on how he's building, like AD or AP, but I think most people kind of go like this AP build. And even if it was AD, he would be on the sustaining side. So, but not too sustained, like obviously not as sustained damage as Draven. So our team comp looks very geared to squishy, sustaining damage with some burst, and that's what I'm seeing. When I'm looking at the enemy team, I'm seeing tank the house, okay? Mundo, Rammus, Galio, Alistar, they're very tanky with Ashe as the sustained damage. That's what I'm seeing. They don't have burst damage. They do have AoE damage because that's usually how tanks are. Like Galio and all. Mundo's damage over time moment. Rammus is what's his ultimate? Earthquake moment that he's got going on, and his Thornmail, like impact built Thornmail. So they're very AoE damage. But it's not bursty. It's sustaining type of damage. Because it's not like an Orianna ultimate, you know, they're more spamming type of abilities that are not that strong. So personally, I wouldn't go Locket. Locket here does give a shield, but it's a burst AoE shield. What are you exactly shielding? Like really? Are you shielding like a 5-man knockup Alistar? Because that's not really realistic. So what are you really shielding? Are you shielding like a Galio Q and that's all? Like a Galio combo? Like what happens 10 seconds later? What are you gonna do? Really nothing. You're not gonna do anything. So Locket does have the AoE, like gives magic resistance and armor to your whole entire team, but that's like not amazing. It's not like that big of a deal. So personally, I wouldn't go Locket here. So we can rule that out. So what else do we have? We have Imperial Mandate or Moonstone, unless you really want to go Shurelya's. Maybe I actually should put Shurelya's under options. So we can do maybe Imperial Mandate. But we do have a lot of sustained damage is a thing. We can kill them if we survive. That's honestly the name of the game. We can kill them if we survive. Do we really need extra damage? Because we have Chunking Draven and Aatrox. They're really going to be our star carries. Diana here is not going to do anything to their team. I'm just going to be like straight up. Jungle, Shaco, and Diana, they're not going to do anything. And by the way, for the sake of this like exercise, we're not going to assume anyone is super fed. Like, we're not going to assume like a 10-0 Diana destroying everyone. We're just going to pretend like everything is like pretty even. No one's hardcore losing, no one's hardcore winning. So they're very tanky. Our assassin Shaco and Diana, they're not useful. They're not going to do anything. Our main stars, like whoever's going to carry this game, is most likely going to be Draven or and Aatrox. So yeah, the question is, do we need Imperial Mandate for this Draven and for this Aatrox? Does that extra damage from Imperial Mandate, or will that Imperial Mandate have an effect on the Mundo, Rammus, Galio, and Alistar? Like, is that tiny extra sustained damage every 6 seconds going to make that much of a difference for us? Personally, I don't think so, because I mean, they're so tanky. Like, what the hell is Imperial Mandate going to do? The sustained damage is really nice, but when I'm comparing it to our last option, which is Moonstone, would you rather heal your Draven every 2 seconds and Aatrox so they can do the damage? Or would you rather be selfish and trying to do damage yourself with Imperial Mandate every 6 seconds? So what do you guys think? I personally think Moonstone here would be the T here, especially when their team is very, again, sustained damage, very small sustained damage. If we survive, they should never really be able to kill us, and we can whittle them down and kill them. The jungle Shaco and the Diana can get rid of the Ashe, like that's their jobs. But Draven and Aatrox, their job is to kill the rest of the team, the tanks. And they don't do a lot of damage, so Moonstone here, I believe, would be the better pick, or the best pick in this game. So let's try, what if we swapped around the team? So let's just say, what if we had the tanks on our team, and they had that team comp now? What would you girls pick? So let's do a vote, a poll. I'll just put in Shorelia's, if anyone wants to pick it. Go! So 19 people voted Moonstone, 27 people voted Imperial, 60 people voted Locket, and 4 people voted Shorelia's. So we've already run down that our team comp is very sustaining tank, and their team comp is sustained damage but has some burst. But we've already established that the Diana's burst is kind of irrelevant against our team. I can already say Locket is not the pick here. Locket is trolling here. What the hell is Locket going to do for you? Like, the only thing that Locket is going to do for you is protect your Ashe and protect yourself. Locket is not going to do anything to Mundo, Rammus, or Galio. How is a Locket going to help against a Draven when a Draven auto-attacks over and over again against one person? Why would we need Locket against a Diana when she's a burst assassin and we have 3 tanks that wouldn't even die to Diana anyways? So, off the bat, I can already tell you that Locket is a troll item, and good luck trying to win if you pick Locket here. So our other options are Shorelia's, Imperial Mandate, or Moonstone. So, what about Shorelia's? Honestly, I wouldn't even be too opposed at Shorelia's here. I don't really particularly like it on Janna that much, but I honestly wouldn't be too opposed here because we are kind of like a run it down type of tank team comp. If we can kill them straight away, that's what we want. We want to kill them in one swell swoop. Because if the fight keeps getting dragged on for too long, the sustained damage Draven and Aatrox will eventually kind of destroy our tanks, because our tanks wouldn't be able to have enough damage for like the Draven lifesteal of it all. So honestly, I wouldn't be too opposed at Shorelia's. I'm not saying it's the best mythic here. I'm just saying like it's an option for you. So what about Moonstone? Would we need Moonstone here? Who is even our star characters, honestly? I would say in terms of damage, our Ashe would get rid of the Aatrox. Like, Ashe's job is to get rid of the Aatrox and Alistar, and then later on down the line, like the other people. But honestly, I think star players would be the tanks all together combined. So how would you could think about it in 2 ways. You could either have Moonstone to heal up your tanks and kind of forget about your Ashe, low-key. Forget about your Ashe and focus on your tanks. Keep your tanks alive so the tanks can kill the enemy team. Or you can think about it as you would want some more sustained damage, some more Imperial Mandate sustained damage to supplement your tanks, because they can survive for a very long time, which means they can continuously proc your Imperial Mandate over and over again, and that damage is quite useful against someone like Draven, where you want to get rid of as soon as possible. And Aatrox's sustain, Aatrox's ultimate and lifesteal lets him sustain for a long time, so Imperial Mandate would help with the damage, because you know it's going to be a very long and drawn out fight. So what would you guys pick now that I told you this, now that I told you that Locket is horrible? Would you rather go for a sustain heal your team comp moment, or would you rather go Imperial Mandate? In my opinion, because Draven is so high damage, I probably would go Imperial Mandate. Because oh, actually no, because we have Rammus, actually, because we have specifically Rammus. Okay, I need to explain, there are tanks that build HP more, and there are tanks that build armor/magic resistance more. So for example, someone like Zac scales off HP, but he is a tank, right? Rammus, on the other hand, he scales off better when he has armor and magic resistance, but he's also a tank. If I had Moonstone, I can continuously heal the Rammus. He doesn't really need all that much HP because I am the HP for him. I'm the healing. And he would take very, very little damage because of his armor and with Galio's magic resistance, but they don't really have that much magic damage apart from Diana, who's going to be quite irrelevant in this game. So we'll focus more on the Rammus. So I can continuously heal the Rammus, and he won't actually take a lot of damage because of his armor. If I had a Zac, I can heal the Zac all I want. But Zac has such a high HP pool, and he doesn't really build as much armor. So my Moonstone is not as useful. I hope that makes sense. Moonstone is more useful with a Rammus than it is Moonstone Zac. So personally in this game, I'm actually thinking I would go Moonstone. Or if, like, honestly, if you look at like Mundo and Rammus, Moonstone is not as useful on Mundo, because Mundo already has such high like inbuilt regeneration, but it's good on Rammus. So I personally would go Moonstone in this game. Unless you really want to go Imperial Mandate. Like, honestly, you can't really go wrong with Imperial Mandate either. I think both are totally fine items to go, Moonstone or Imperial Mandate. Because Imperial Mandate would help with the sustained damage of your beefy team. These are things you should be thinking about when you are picking a mythic item. Like, sustain versus burst versus AoE versus single target, tanks, squishies. These are things you should be thinking about when you're playing support and building mythic. It's not just, oh, what's the best mythic item for Janna? I want to know. I want to play Imperial Mandate all the time. That's not how it goes. This is not season 10 anymore. This is season 11. This is what you have to be building things accordingly. Let's try again. I'll get rid of all these characters and we will continue using Janna for the purpose of this exercise. We're just going to keep with Janna. So let me pick out some other characters again. Okay. So if your team was Camille, Kayn, Yasuo, Kai'Sa, and the enemy team was Malphite, Amumu, Katarina, Jhin, Leona, which mythic item would you pick? I think this should be honestly really, really easy, but let me give you a poll. What would you pick? Is it AP Malphite? It doesn't matter and we don't know is a thing. Like, this is champion select. And you pick a mythic item. What's the earliest time would you pick? You would pick or general time you would pick a mythic item? Because you pick a first item, right? This is something you have to like pick up in champion select. So we're not talking about like, oh, like, is this red Kayn or blue Kayn? Like, we don't know because we would already have a mythic item before he even chooses, right? So this is something you have to choose like very early on in the game. So pretend like this is what you see in champion select. Like, well, what are you thinking? What do you think of building? Okay, yeah, this is very easy. Everyone's voting Locket. So yes, 91% of you voted Locket. Well done. 92% of you voted Locket. For those who are picking Moonstone, I'm very disappointed in you. If I look at my team comp is sustain damage to the house, and we're squishy. Like that's what speaks to me. Like, we're squishy, but we do sustain damage. The enemy team comp obviously screams to me AoE combo the house. Like, so it should, like, this should automatically immediately tell you that Locket is the key here. What the hell is Moonstone going to do? Like, who am I going to Moonstone when a Katarina, like, 5-man Amumu ult, 5-man Malphite ult, Katarina jumps in, kills everyone, AoE the house. Like, what the hell is Moonstone going to do for me? Like, who am I healing? My team is already dead. Okay, so Moonstone's already out of the question. Imperial Mandate. Why do I need Imperial Mandate? I have sustained damage. I will always win if I survive. So why would I need Imperial Mandate? We have so much sustained damage already. Their burst damage, we're sustained damage. We don't need Shirelles, obviously, because Shirelles are burst damage. So obviously here is Locket. Locket is an AoE burst shield. It counters 3, even 4 people. The Jhin is burst damage. Or even Leona is like kind of a burst damage with her like engage and awe. So obviously Locket here is the pick. It counters like the whole entire team. What if we swap the teams around? What if we had Katarina and... So what if we had the wombo combo team comp and the enemy team comp had like the sustained damage? What would you guys pick here now? I'll let you girls vote. So most people are picking Shirelles, then Imperial, then Moon, then Locket. So obviously we don't need Locket here. It's very obvious because they are sustained damage, single target as well. I guess we have to think about like what is our star moment. So if Katarina goes in, can she kill all these people? I would think yes, because they're very squishy. So would we really need all that much damage? Would Imperial Mandate even work for us? I don't think so, because honestly, the fight should be already over by the time Imperial Mandate even like procs a second time or even a third time. I mean, if you want to think about like how Imperial Mandate, like Katarina jumps in, lovely, she does all her damage, let's just say she dies. Would Imperial Mandate help my Jhin plus my 2 tanks? That extra damage, would it help against their assassiny, sustainy type of team comp damage? I mean, it could. But I think they have quite a lot of lifesteal and all, and they have a lot of ways to kind of get rid of the damage, like Kayn and Camille's ultimate, the Wind War, they have Leona, and the Leona might even go Locket as well, and she might be able to stop some damage. What were the other options? We have Moonstone or Australia. If we went Moonstone here, would Moonstone... Who is Moonstone helping? Who is Moonstone really helping? Moonstone here would realistically be helping only, and I'm saying only, the tanks. Only Amumu and only Malphite. Oh, by the way, let's just pretend Amumu is like not super duper OP, because I'm pretty sure Amumu got nerfed. So let's just pretend Amumu is like an okay champion, like he's not OP the house, because I'm pretty sure he got nerfed because he was just absolutely outrageous when he came into the preseason. So Moonstone is only going to help with Malphite and Amumu. If you want to really bank all your hopes, put all your hopes into Amumu carrying, then sure, you can go Moonstone for him. I'm gonna let you girls know that Moonstone is not going to help a Katarina, and it's not really going to help a Jhin, because they're very squishy. Moonstone won't be able to proc on them that much. By the time like Camille jumps on them, Kayn jumps on them, destroys their career, or a Yasuo. Like the Moonstone just cannot sustain long enough for these 2 characters, these 2 squishies. So Moonstone's only good for Amumu and Malphite. The other option that we have is Shirelles, which honestly would make sense here a lot, because we are the burst AoE moment, and we want to jump on them and destroy their careers. So it would make sense, in my opinion, that Shirelles, although like I said in this stream and video, that I don't actually particularly like Shirelles on Janna, I personally think Shirelles is the best item in this game. You Shirelles, once your Malphite, or if you want to do it before, Malphite and Amumu engages, AoE ult, Shirelles, everyone does their own like 3 stacks of Shirelles damage, you destroy them quickly before they even have a chance to fight back. We are the burst, they are the sustain, they are the squishy sustain, we want to kill them straight away. We don't want the fight to go any longer than it should, otherwise the sustain damage will overpower us and we'll lose. We want to destroy them in one swoop, one moment. So I think Shorel is the pick here. If I did get Imperial Mandate procs every 6 seconds. That's the lowest you can do. Every 6 seconds. If you're envisioning this fight, Malphite ult, Amimi ult, Katarina jumps in, ults everyone. How many procs of Imperial Mandate stacks do you realistically think you're going to be procking? Like 6-second fight, 12-second fight, 18-second fight? I think 18-second fight is really stretching it. I don't even know if you would get a second Imperial, honestly, on multiple people. Probably like on the backline, sure. But I feel like this probably would only be like a 2 Imperial Mandate stack at most, honestly. So I don't think Imperial Mandate. We want to kill them straight away in one swoop. So, you know, I hope this exercise is letting you girls or helping you girls understand, like, there is no best mythic item for Janna. There is no best mythic item for Leona. There is no best mythic item for Nami. It's not the right question to be asking, like, hey Luminum, I've been playing some Janna. What's the best mythic item on Janna? I want to build over and over and over again. Like, that's not how it goes. That's not Season 11. You know, you would never really pick Shorelius all that much on Janna. But there will be times when you would prefer Shorelius on Janna. Like in this game. Like, you would not be building a locket. Like, a locket is trolling here. Like, what the hell is a locket going to do for your team? This type of, like, building items, depending on what you're versing and what you have in the team, is something you do for every single character in the game. But it's more so for supports. Because supports are more reactionary. Especially Enchantresses, in particular. And I already know my demographic. I already know, like, most of my chat plays Enchantress. So this is something very, very important for all you girlies, okay? We have to play accordingly and adaptively to what the enemy team has. It's not really so much like assassin like Katarina. Katarina just like builds like 2 things. Like, does she want to do her on-hit 80 build, or does she want to go Night Harvest of Birds? Like, that's the only 2 things she ever really thinks about. But as an Enchantress, we have to think a lot more about what we're versing and what we have on our team. So no, like, don't just keep building Imperial Mandate on Nami. I don't want to be seeing, like, Imperial Mandate Janna over and over again. You pick accordingly. Moonstone is only going to be useful for Amumu. Like, literally only Amumu. Moonstone can heal your Malphite, but your Malphite doesn't do damage. Even if you healed your Malphite, what would you achieve? What is that achieving? He just stands in front of a Yasuo and Yasuo keeps chopping him up. Like, who cares if we heal the Malphite? Like, what's Malphite going to do? Bop them down? Like, that's not going to happen. The only thing that would be useful is, like, healing the Amumu. And we know Amumu has a lot of damage currently in this season, right now. He could destroy the enemy team if he stayed alive, but Moonstone's only going to be useful for him. I would rather have Shorelius that helps the whole entire team with their overall burst damage. Okay, so let's try a different build. Try a different comp. We'll stick with Janna again. Maybe you're pre-made with your sissy friends, and let's just be real. If we had sissy friends, I can envision us having, like, you know, they'll probably play Lux middle. Miss Fortune, 100%, okay. So maybe you're, like, pre-made with the girls, okay? Lux 80 carry, girls, I know you all force it. Like, you go Lux in every lane, okay? Like, don't even pretend. You go Lux top, Lux mid, Lux 80 carry, Lux support, Lux jungle. Like, don't even pretend. I feel like this would be like a very, like, pre-made sissy team comp moment. So maybe the enemy team comp can be very heterosexual, like straight male hetero. Okay, so if this was our team comp, we had the Kel, we had Evelyn, Lux, Miss Fortune, very LGBT the house. And the enemy team had Ornn, Lee Sin, Zed, Ezreal, Swain. What mythic item would you pick? And we're not assuming anyone is fed or anything, because this is, pretend you're in champion select. Pretend you're in champion select and maybe like 5 minutes into the game and you have enough gold to buy a mythic and you have to buy a mythic on the spot in 5 minutes in the game. What would you pick? Girl to 50, FFF 15, honestly. Okay, so 77 people, or most people picking locket, like 72% of you girls. So let's do some process of elimination. We'll start off with Moonstone. Oh, actually, no, we'll start off with like, what is our team comp, what is their team comp? When I look at my team comp, I see mostly burst damage from Evelyn, Lux, and Miss Fortune. Miss Fortune is sustained damage, obviously, because she is an 80 carry, so all 80 carries are sustained damage, but she's on the burstier side. She doesn't have as much damage as like a Cogmore Twitch or whatever, because she's AoE Miss Fortune ult the house. So she's, in my opinion, on the bursty-ish sustained damage side. The only sustained damage, like true sustained damage we have is Kel. So we are very, very squishy, like with most of the LGBT girly champions that we play. We are very, very squishy. We will die. Like them staring at us, we die. What is their team comp? Their team comp to me looks AoE, sorry, not AoE, sustain, single target damage. Obviously, Zed being an assassin is burst with his ultimate and all, but his auto attacks do chunk and his spammable abilities let him be sustained damage in a way. So I see AoE engage from Ornn, AoE damage Swain, but sustained damage the other three. They are tankier than us, but they are quite squishy in terms of their sustained AoE, like a sustained single target like AD, Lee Sin, Zed, Ezreal. So would we need Moonstone here? The answer is no. Moonstone is literally trolling. Like, who are you Moonstoning? Like, when Ornn uses his ultimate and Swain like gets his like 5-man ult and walks into your team, and a Zed is ulting your Lux, where a Zed usually likes to one-shot someone, like what the hell is Moonstone going to do? Like, a Zed can kill someone in like 2 seconds. So Moonstone heals every 2 seconds. So like, you're healing someone once in a fight. Like, okay, wow, good job. So Moonstone is not the pick here. Moonstone is literally trolling. So what other options do we have? What about maybe Shurelya's? Would Shurelya's be good here? Well, do we need that burst damage? And even if we had burst damage, could we kill them? When I'm looking at my team comp, we have a lot of burst damage. We have Evelyn, Lux, and Miss Fortune like AoE all. And when I look at their team comp, I'm seeing kind of tanky. And is that burst damage necessary to get rid of a Zed, Lee Sin, Ezreal? Like, if we get a binding or whatever, or if Evelyn gets into the backline, are we even going to be able to get Shurelya's off her? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't see how Shurelya's would be good into the enemy team car. Oh, by the way, the movement speed part of Shurelya's, I personally don't think even is the most important part. The important part of Shurelya's is the damage part. Obviously, movement speed is lovely, but I wouldn't be picking Shurelya's just because like, oh, I want to run away or I want to engage and that's all, okay? So I would say Shurelya's and Moonstone are useless items here. So what do we have? We have left Locket and Imperial Mandate. So when I look at Imperial Mandate, will we survive long enough for Imperial Mandate to do anything is a question. Because I'm letting you girls know that Evelyn, Lux, Miss Fortune, they try to kill these squishies, but Miss Kale here is going to try clean up everything. Like clean up the Ornn, clean up the Swain, clean up if these three survive. So is Imperial Mandate going to do anything for this Lux? Because let's be real, a Lux's QE ultimate, that's her combo. Imperial Mandate procs every 6 seconds. Like, how many Imperial Mandate stacks can we proc before our sissy team comp dies? The answer is like not that many, because let's be real, this Ornn's gonna ult this Lux, and this Lux is gonna cry, the Zed is gonna kill her, and then yeah, she's just gonna die. So I don't think Imperial Mandate here is gonna do anything, absolutely anything for our team comp. So the last option is Locket. Locket's AoE will help with the Swain and the Ornn, and plus the burst shielding will help against like Zed ult, the Lee Sin kind of kick. So Lee Sin obviously has some burst damage with his ultimate and his Qs and like the combo, but he is sustained damage with auto attacks, attack speed, and spammable Qs and stuff like that. But even so, like Locket, I believe would be the best pick here. So good job, girlies. Should we do like a swap moment? Actually, this would be so easy. I think this part would be so easy. It would just be Locket if we swapped it around because of the AoE burst damage. That would be so easy. We don't need to do that. So if you had Volibear, Olaf, Morgana, Lucian on your side, you're playing Janna, and the enemy team had Shen, Graves, Anivia, Caitlyn, Lulu, what would you pick? And this is in champ select, like 5 minutes in and all. We're assuming that we have enough money to buy a mythic item 5 minutes into the game or whatever. What would you pick? No one is fed, no one is underfed, no one is flopping, like what would you pick? So, process of elimination. I'll start off with Locket. Or, I keep forgetting. I'll start off with what our team comp, what the enemy team comp looks like. So when I look at my team comp, I see 2 breezes, Volibear, Olaf, sustained damage. I see a burst damage Morgana with like a puddle, but kind of like ignorable, if you will. We have sustained damage Lucian, but Lucian falls off a lot late game. And Lucian is not good against tanks. Lucian is well known to be very, very useless against tanks because he just does not do a lot of damage later on in the game. When I look at the enemy team comp, I see very tanky people like Shen, Graves. I see Lulu's shield helping with the tankiness. I see AoE damage Anivia, who has more sustained damage than Morgana because she's more spammable. I see Caitlyn. Caitlyn does fall off damage as well, like Lucian, but I think she has more damage and she has like the burst damage of her combo. Because she's more like caster, like QE trap burst moment. So, when I look at Locket, what the hell is Locket gonna do for me? Who am I helping? All I see is Locket helps with Anivia. But who's Anivia killing? Anivia can only really kill Lucian and Morgana. Anivia's not killing my Olaf. Anivia's not killing my Volibear. My Volibear's fine. My Olaf is fine. They're tanky the house. They're not gonna die to Anivia. Morgana also has her shield and like probably Zhonya's and some lifesteal moment. Like she's gonna be okay. So when I look at Locket, I think it's a short item. It's not gonna do anything. Locket's not really gonna help against Shen. Like, what are you blocking? The Graves has sustained damage. He does have some AoE damage with his Q and his ultimate, but a lot of Graves' damage is his auto attacks, like auto, dash, auto, dash, auto, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't see how Locket is gonna be any useful or of any use in this game. So what about Shirelia's? If we look at Shirelia's, we could run it down. But do we have the burst damage to run it down? We don't. We don't have any burst damage. We have sustained damage, but we don't have burst. And even if we did run it down with Shirelia's, they have Lily and Shen. Even if we all dive this Anivia, they would Lily, Shen, ultimate shield this Anivia. Like, Shirelia's wouldn't do anything. Yeah. We would Shirelia's run it down them, and then what? They survive, and then what? We don't have any more damage left. We've run out. What Shirelia's done for us? Nothing. So Shirelia's here is not the T here. So we have Moonstone left and Imperial Mandate. Because this game, if you haven't already noticed, is going to be a sustained game. Sustained damage or sustained healing depends on how you want to look at it. But we know this is a sustained damage. The teams have sustained damage and are quite tanky. The games are going to be quite drawn out. The fights are going to be quite drawn out. So your only options would be only Moonstone or Imperial Mandate. So if I chose Imperial Moonstone, or if I were thinking about Moonstone, who would Moonstone be benefiting, really? The Moonstone would only really be benefiting my Volibear and Olaf mostly. Are they people that are worth helping? Volibear, not so much, I don't think. Volibear, even if he were to survive, he wouldn't have enough damage to get rid of Lulu's shield and Graves dashing around and Nivea's kiting and stuff like that. Like, even if Volibear did live, so what? What about Olaf? If he lived, could he kill down? Maybe, because Olaf does have quite a lot of sustained damage. Maybe keeping him alive could help. Would Moonstone help with Morgana? Not really. Because even if you kept Morgana alive, she's just gonna be chucking out a binding here and there, like, the Greys will destroy her career. Anyways, I don't think Moonstone is the worst here, but I don't think it's the best here. So that leaves with the final item, Imperial Mandate. Would Imperial Mandate be good here? And Imperial Mandate helps literally everyone on a team. The extra damage helps everyone on the team. The extra damage will help against Shen's tankiness. It will help with Lulu's sustained shielding. It will help against the drawn out fight that we would have against the Graves and Shen. It gives a little bit of damage to finish off the Caitlyn and Morgana. So in this game, Imperial Mandate is the T. Imperial Mandate is the item to pick in this game. So we've gone through a lot of exercises and a lot of like matchups. And I've shown you that there are a lot of games that just have like flex items. You don't just pick Imperial Mandate every single time. You don't just pick Shorturl every single time. You don't just pick Moonstone every single time. What is item good against Twitch Cassio Teemo that has burn-in damage? It's not just singular though. You can't think of it as like that foolish Tapia. Like this is the point of the exercise. You can't think of that. Like if I deleted Shen, Graves, Caitlyn, Lulu, and I just say, well, what is a mythic item good against a Nivea? Well, of course Locket is good against a Nivea. Like a Locket would be the best item for a Nivea. But if I put in the Shen, Graves, Caitlyn, Lulu, that changes up the whole entire thing. Like, Locket is not the best item in this game. You can't be looking at it as just like, oh, I want to counter these poison people and that's it. It's the whole entire team and what you have on your team. It's not 1v1. Like, if you want to play 1v1, go ahead and go, I don't know, make a custom game, play 1v1. But this is 5v5. We have so many characters that we are versing and have on our team. You can't just be like, oh, I want to counter this Teemo, so I'll go Moonstone. Because Moonstone is healing over time, that counters Teemo. Like, what if the whole entire team copies burst damage? What if they had Teemo top lane? Like, okay, we went Cassio Pyramid. Cassio Pyramid is good. And, you know, Moonstone would counter Cassio, really, with the sustained damage. Okay, but what if they had Gragas jungle, Malphite top, Submira 80 carry, Brand support. What if they had this team comp? Now, all of a sudden, Moonstone kind of looks horrible here. Malphite ult, Gragas AoE, Brand AoE, Samira, like, shooting everyone down with her ultimate, like her OP ultimate, she needs to be deleted moment. Like, Moonstone is not the T here. It's Locket, right? So, these are things you should be thinking about. It's the whole entire team, what you're versing, what you have in your team. Like, you don't just single target and be like, oh, I want to counter like a Teemo, and that's it. Oh, girl, I've only just scraped the surface now that I think about it. I've only just done Janna. I haven't even touched like the tank supports. I haven't even touched Leona or whatever. Girl, we need to do this. I mean, you girls will be fine. Like, none of you even play tanks anyways, let's be real. You all play Enchantress. You'll be fine. Or do you want me to do it? Not the drag. I want more. Okay, fine. I'm thinking I will use Leona. So, Leona is probably this tank support that we most go. I think Leona is one of the easiest, if not the easiest tank support. And it's something that a lot of the girlies gravitate towards, because Leona was my very first like tank support that I really started learning like many years ago. And I think that would be very similar, or like a lot of us here would have played Leona more than anything else, like Nautilus or whatever. So we'll use Leona as our support. So with Leona, she is good with obviously the tank items like Sunfire Aegis and all that, but the cheaper options are like Locket and Shorturl. So those are really only options. You have Shorturl and Locket if you want to be support or supportive for your team, or if you want to be very solo queue selfish, you could go Sunfire Aegis. I don't think you really need, well, not I don't think you need, you absolutely don't need like Turbo Chem Tank or Frostfire Gauntlet. They're not that useful on her. So yeah, these are your three options. Yeah, Locket Shorelias and Sunfire Aegis. So let's build a team comp. So if your team comp was, if you had Fiora, Jarvan, Echo, Samira on your team, and the enemy team comp had Jax, Elise, Fizz, Xayah, Rakan, what mythic item would you pick? What does Sunfire do? That's your homework, Blue Dolphin. Good job for exposing yourself, Blue Dolphin. You have homework now. You better go look it up. Otherwise, you're failing this class. Okay, so when I look at my team comp, Fiora, Jarvan, Echo, Samira, Leona, what I'm seeing is some AoE damage from Samira, but overall, sustained damage. Samira is very like sustain, obviously with her combo moment. Fiora is the ultimate sustain character with her, forget what her Q is called, but her Q moment and her passives. We have Jarvan, who is kind of tanky bruiser, but sustain damage. And we have Echo, who is assassin, but he is on the spammable side. Usually, melee assassins are on the spammable side. So someone like LeBlanc is burst damage, but she doesn't have a lot of sustain damage. Whereas Echo, because he's on the melee side, he has a bit more like lower cooldowns and he can spam a bit more, auto attacks, do some damage, his passive, blah blah blah. When I look at the enemy team comp, I see sustain damage Jax, burst Elise, burst AoE Fizz, somewhat sustained damage, like obviously because she's an AD carry, Xayah, but she has her feather moment, like AoE feather moment, which is kind of bursty. And we have Rakan, AoE, engage, burst damage. I don't remember to say burst damage because she's not damaged, but like AoE, the house, engage. So let's run through our options. Process of elimination. We are sustained damage, they are burst damage. This should be honestly very, very easy, but for the sake of this exercise, I'll go through each one of them. If I went Sunfire Aegis, which is very solo to the house, would I really need it, honestly? Like, do I need that extra damage to kill them? We have Fiora, who's ultimate damage. We have Samira, ultimate damage. We have Echo, who's assassin damage. Like, do we really need Sunfire Aegis? The burn damage, like, when we have so much damage on the team, like, do we really need the Sunfire Aegis moment? The answer is no, we don't. They're squishy, okay? We are tankier than them, kind of. Actually, no, we're not. We're pretty similar, the team comps, in terms of tankiness. But they're kind of squishy, okay? At least Fizz, Xayah on the squishier side. Do we need Sunfire Aegis burning damage against squishy? No, we don't. We have enough sustained damage, we have enough damage. They are squishy, we don't need Sunfire Aegis, okay? So, the other option is Shorelias or Locket. Now, here's the thing, and I probably should have said this at the start, because I've said it before in other streams, but I should have said it for this video. Sustained damage will always beat burst damage if you survive. So, if anyone doesn't understand that, the easiest way for me to explain it is, imagine you playing Lux, because all of us have played Lux. Imagine you playing Lux, and then you QE ultimate a Jax. Just envision it. And the Jax survives. And then the Jax flashes and jumps on you. And then he bops you for a good one. And then you die as Lux. How many times has that happened to you? How many times have you played Lux and you tried to kill Yasuo, but you couldn't kill Yasuo because you didn't have enough burst damage and then he chops you up for a good one? How many times has that happened? Or probably too many times, right? And that is simply because if you don't burst them down, they have the sustained damage to kill you afterwards. That's just like a fundamental thing in League. Like, that just should be obvious, okay? So when I look at my team with sustained damage, I will win against their burst damage if I survive, if I live. So when I look at Shorelias, I could have Shorelias to burst damage their squishies down. But then again, I have enough sustained damage. I have enough damage on my team. I would rather keep my damaged people alive. I want to keep them alive so they don't get one shot by like some cocoon fizz ult moment with locket. And they're quite AoE with the fizz. And Elise W. And Rakan AoE moment. So if I stay alive with locket, survive the fizz burst, survive the Elise burst, my sustained damage will ultimately win out against the team. Jax does have sustained damage, but when we look at overall, you know, their overall is AoE burst damage. So locket is the T here. I love the thought process and the theory, but all this falls apart when you remember this is League. People don't know how to play their role as champions or function on a team. So all I see is fizz and just getting that's the wrong thing. It doesn't even matter. Like, you should be playing and adapting to the game and doing your best. Like, I don't care if this Jax gets like 15-0, right? Like, yeah, he could get 15-0 and destroy your team. Like, obviously, duh. But you still want to play your best, and your best is locket. Yeah. That's climbing in general. That's League of Legends. League of Legends is not about winning this one game only. Like, my life depends on this one Jax game, and if this Jax wins, like, I'm fucked up. Like, I'm dead. League of Legends is about climbing consistently. It's about having a higher win rate than 50% that you can slowly climb up. And, you know, it might take you 1,000 games to get to Challenger, but it's a consistent grind. You have to play consistently well. So being able to pick items consistently is the way to go. Sure, locket might be the best, or is the best item here, and yes, maybe Jax might be able to get 10-0 and bop your whole entire team down, and locket might be useless against specifically Jax, because maybe Jax was the one that got fed. But that doesn't mean the future 10 games that you have a similar team comp that you wouldn't go locket. And if you did go locket in these games, you would consistently win more, because the Jax isn't going to be 10-0 all the time, because that's just not realistic. That's not real. Okay. So locket is this pick here. What if we swap the team comps around? Oh, actually, this is kind of easy. It would be locket because Samir's AoE damage and echo burst damage, and we're squishy and we would survive, so it would be locket here. Yeah? So that one's easy. I won't even do that. We have Gangplank, we have Rek'Sai, Kiana, Varus, Leona, and the MT has Maokai, Vi, Mataha, Ezreal, Nami. What mythic item would you pick? So when I look at my team comp, I'm seeing sustained damage, Gangplank, Rek'Sai. Gangplank does have burst damage with barrels, but he is like on the spammable bruiser side, so that is always going to be kind of sustained damage. I see burst damage, lethality, Varus, and Kiana. So 80 carry always is sustained damage, but on the 80 carry scale, like Varus obviously has less damage than a Kog'Maw, less damage than like a Draven, right? He is more burst damage. He's not as sustaining. Now when I look at their team comp, I see tank Maokai. I see a sustained damage bruiser-ish. No, not even sustained. Like a bruiser Vi that has burst damage actually. Her ultimate like combo moment is burst damage. I see Malzahar sustain damage over time moment, obviously with some burst in a sense that he can ult one person and destroy the career. I see sustained damage Ezreal. I see a Nami that does AoE type of crowd control with some sustain, like spammable-ish type of healing, like well-rounded moment Nami. So I guess we can run down, would locket be good here? So what I'm seeing is mostly single target damage from their side. Single target Vi ult, single target Malzahar ult, Obviously, he has like spread damage with his damage of time moment. He can spread it around, and he has like the silence moment that's AoE. But they have Ezreal, who is very single target the house. His ultimate like sure is AoE, but mostly Ezreal's single target. So I don't think Locket's going to do anything here. I don't really see how Locket will do much for me. Locket would really only help out Miss Kiana and Varus because they are the squishy, so the burst shielding will help them. But I don't really see how Locket would help that much. Unless I had like a star player that I really had to keep alive. But I don't really need to keep this Kiana alive or this Varus alive because they just have burst damage. They throw this shit out and then they're done. Like, I don't really care if they die after that, okay? Like, we don't really care if Kiana dies after she throws out her stuff because she's burst damage, okay? So, our other options is Shurelya's and Sunfire Aegis. If we had Shurelya's, that means we can run in and burst the team down, but they kind of look a little tanky. Would Shurelya's help us destroy their careers? Like the extra burst damage you get from Shurelya's, is that something that we would really need against the tank bruiser moment of Maokai and Vi? The burst damage would help against Malzahar and Ezreal, honestly. But we do have the Kiana already damage, and if the Varus ult, like that's a lot of burst damage we already have. So do we really need the Shurelya's? It would work with against Nami as well, honestly. I would say, honestly, Shurelya's is not too bad here. I probably personally wouldn't go it, but if you did go Shurelya's, I don't think it would be that bad. Like, it would be okay. You'll be fine with it. Okay, the burst damage would help against Malzahar, Ezreal, and Nami. You do have sustained damage, and you do have a mixture of burst damage, so it's okay, in my opinion. What I personally would go, in my opinion, is be a bit greedy and Sunfire Aegis. And because they are tankier side, they are on the tankier side, sorry. The Sunfire Aegis would help you kind of burn through the bruises and tanky people. And also, it just makes you tanky, and they don't really have a lot of damage. Well, they do have damage, but Leona is good against stuff like Ezreal and Malzahar, who are like ticking type of damage. Like, you know that you will survive very, very long in their team comp. Vi's not gonna kill you. Maokai sure as hell isn't gonna kill you. If the Malzahar wants to aim you, he is welcome to, but he's wasting his time trying to shoot you down because your W like can counter him really well. Your W does pretty well into Ezreal because Ezreal, yes, is sustained damage, but he is very like increment type of damage, and obviously Nami's not gonna do shit to you with any damage. So if I look at Leona's Leona League, if anyone doesn't know about Leona's W, I've already explained it in like my Leona video. But something they did to Leona is, and this is very, 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 very important, this detail, is that she blocks a flat damage. So at rank 5 of her W, she will block 24 damage always. It's like bone plating. So if I got auto attacked by 100 damage, I will shred off 24 damage no matter what. I think it stops at 50%. Yeah, no more than 50%. So rather than taking 100 damage, I would take 76 damage. And this is not even including the armor that I get, like the 40-40 magic resistance armor that I get. So someone like Malzahar, who's damage over time, yeah, sure, let's just say Malzahar did 500 damage with a poison, like whatever, damage over time. But that damage over time is broken up into 5 parts. So rather than like 500 damage, right, it's doing like 100, 100, 100. I'll even type it. Actually, I'll type it in. So it'll be like 100, 100, 100. So this, pretend this is Malzahar's poison. 100, 100. Okay. So Leona's W, reducing 24 damage every increment or every tick, it means that each 100 moment is taking 24 less, 24 less, 24 less, 24 less, 24 less, right? So rather than, you know, him doing 100 for 500 damage, Malzahar is actually doing 76 damage to me when I have my Leona W. So, you know, 76 times 5 is 380. This is what Leona's strength is with her W, right? So when I look at that team, burst damage kind of vibe, but she's not going to burst me down, I'm a tank. And then the small increments like damage of time Malzahar and like Q auto Ezreal, like spammy Ezreal, like not like burst damage, but like increments of like Q auto Q, E, Q moment. My W is making me survive really well against all these hoes. So I know I will survive for a long time. And so Sunfire Aegis personally is something I would go, I know survive. If I survive, my Sunfire Aegis will deal a lot of damage and destroy their careers. So out of the 3 options that we had Shorelia's, Locket, and Sunfire Aegis. Locket here is not the tier. Really wouldn't do that much. Shorelia's not the worst, but not the best. And then in my opinion, I think Sunfire Aegis would destroy their careers. You can be selfish. Be that selfish Leona and carry yourself to Challenger. Okay? How are you, Ayaki? We're doing a bit of an exercise or like teaching moment. So a lot of times people ask me like, what's the best mythic item for Janna? And I always say that same thing. There is no best mythic item for Janna. There's only a best mythic item for the game, like what you verse and what you have in your team. Because I get tired of seeing like all these people being like, oh, I love Imperial Mandate Nami and I'm just gonna play Imperial Mandate Nami over and over again, like no matter what. It's just, that's not how you play. Like that's not season 11 anymore. It's not League of Legends anymore. So we're just running through some exercises like what you would build. I couldn't really find like a website that had like champion select mode, so we're doing like this tier maker moment so we can visualize things a little easier. So our side is the Leona side and the enemy side is like the Nami side or whatever. Could we get a guest lecture on? Oh, and I'll like roast them. I'll be like, so what would you pick here? You better answer correctly or you're failing. Big Imperial Mandate next patch, by the way. Oh, is there? Okay, the thing about like all these items currently is that they always get changed, so it's really annoying. Oh yeah. So Imperial Mandate has like 2 damage when you proc it and when your ally procs it. So they're converting some of the damage on the original damage that you proc and put it onto ally, so your ally does more damage. So yeah, but I'm not worried too much about number wise. I'm more talking about like the fundamental purpose of those items. Like we all know Imperial Mandate is meant for sustained damage and Shorel is like burst damage, like the fundamentals of that. So unless an item is like so greatly like horrible and nerfed and like useless to house, I'm just gonna pretend like they're okay items. How many Leona exercises did I do? Did I just only do 1? I think I only did 1. I'm getting like so tired, I don't want to play some video games. Let's stop here, let's play. So, I hope you girlies start to expand your horizons and build items. You don't build the same thing over and over again. You build accordingly, okay? Accordingly to what you have in your team and what you verse. So I was on my Diamond 1 account and I was versing like Grandmasters or Challenger people. I had Misfortune Challenger Misfortune on my side. And then I was versing like a Grandmaster Master Victor and Seraphine, I believe. I think, yeah, Victor Seraphine for bot lane. And guess what item I built? Guess which item I built from this exercise. Obviously, there are like the other teams. I can't really remember off the top of my head like what my team was. But I think my team come up with sustained damage, whereas there was a burst damage with like the Victor Seraphine bot lane. So like from the exercises that we've done today, like guess which item that I picked, my mythic item. Yes, Locket. Good job, girlies. Good job. Good job. Yes, Locket. Because Locket really like literally saved my career. Okay, like Miss Seraphine ulting my Misfortune, Victor bursting down my my misfortune down with his ultimate and all. Like, my locket plus my ultimate, like, saved my team's career, right? Like, I wouldn't go Imperial Mandate. Like, what the hell is Imperial Mandate gonna do if my team is dead in, like, one shot, right? Like, no. So, go win your games now. Go get Challenger, girlies. Pick some items out for yourselves that are good for the game. Good luck in your games.